Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. European leaders set to hold emergency summit on Ukraine next week. France to host the summit. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. Discussion on next phase of Gaza ceasefire on agenda. Protest over corruption and train station collapse grips Serbia, demand government action. Stampede at New Delhi railway station in India's national capital, 18 dead and several injured, probe ordered. And in tennis, Amanda Anisimova sweeps past Elena Ostapenko to claim Qatar Open title. News in detail now. European leaders will hold an emergency summit on Ukraine. The summit will be held in Paris on Monday. Polish Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski said French President Emmanuel Macron had called the summit of European leaders to discuss Ukraine crisis. The move comes after Donald Trump's special envoy to Ukraine said European leaders would be consulted but not take part in any talks between US and Russia over ending the conflict. Separately, the EU's foreign policy chief Kaja Kallas called the meeting of foreign ministers from the bloc at the Munich Security Conference for Sunday morning. The meeting would take stock of the latest contacts with US and Ukraine officials. The US Special Envoy Keith Kellogg stated that European leaders would be consulted but not involved in the US-Russia talks. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky emphasized that Ukraine would not accept any deals made without their involvement. US Vice President J.D. Vance criticized European democracies, stating that the greatest threat comes from within. Zelensky called for a united European army, citing concerns that the US may no longer provide aid. He emphasized that the old relationship between Europe and America is ending and Europe needs to adapt. Vice President J.D. Vance met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to continue the Trump administration's conversations about ending Russia's war in Ukraine, alongside Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Special Presidential Envoy for Russia and Ukraine Keith Kellogg. Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer will be discussing European leaders' views with US President Trump during his visit to the White House. A follow-up meeting with European leaders and Zelensky is also expected afterwards. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy emphasized that Europe must increase defense spending as Russian President Vladimir Putin remains a threat even in the event of negotiated peace. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Swedish PM Ulf Kristersson and Finnish President Alexander Stubb at a Munich Security Conference. Stubb pledged continuous support for Ukraine ahead of peace talks with Russia, emphasizing the need for political, financial and military aid. Zelensky stressed Ukraine's need for security guarantees. The meetings followed Trump's surprise call to Putin, announcing immediate peace talks without consulting European allies or Ukraine.
It does not protect us. It is not yet ready to protect us, our interests. For me, it is very important to talk about investments. And in Ukraine, these are investments. And this should be stated legally in a proper and correct way. And this is an investment, and you can think about how to distribute profit from it. If it is all connected with security guarantees, you know, I have not seen this connection in the document.
The US will be holding peace talks between Russia and Ukrainian negotiators in Saudi Arabia. Senior officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, White House National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and Middle East negotiator Steve Witkoff, will attend. Rubio reaffirmed the US commitment to ending the conflict in a call with Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. Rubio's visit to Saudi Arabia is part of his West Asia tour, which began with his arrival in Israel. And the talks aim to arrange a meeting between Trump, Putin and Zelensky to secure peace in Ukraine. This development follows Trump's conversation with Putin, where they agreed to start ceasefire talks. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Israel late on Saturday on the first leg of his West Asia visit. Rubio landed at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv and is due to hold talks with Israeli officials on Sunday, when he will highlight President Trump's proposal to take control of Gaza. The top U.S. diplomat will also meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem on Sunday. The talks will focus on freeing U.S. and all other hostages from Hamas's captivity and advancing to phase 2 of the ceasefire agreement in Gaza. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked U.S. President Donald Trump on Saturday for his full support in Gaza following the completion of 6th hostage prisoner exchange. Netanyahu's office in a statement said that Israeli PM appreciates the President Trump's full support for Israel's decisions regarding the Gaza Strip and future developments. The statement further said that President Trump's firm stance led to the release of 3 of hostages on Saturday, despite Hamas previously refusing to release them. The statement came after Trump posted on social media that Israel should choose how to respond to the successful conclusion of the latest swap. The two sides exchanged 3 Israeli hostages held in Gaza while 369 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. Now, thousands of Israelis demonstrated in Tel Aviv on Saturday, calling for the return of all remaining hostages left in Gaza. Thousands packed the city's Hostages Square and another protest site outside the country's defense ministry to demonstrate. Families of Israeli hostages in Gaza demanded PM Netanyahu bring the hostages home first before phase 2 of the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal begins. 19 Israeli and 5 Thai hostages have been released so far, with 73 still in captivity, around half of whom have been declared dead. The ceasefire's second phase is meant to usher in negotiations to return the remaining living hostages among the 251 seized that day and complete an Israeli military withdrawal before a final end to conflict and the reconstruction of Gaza. Now, tens of thousands of students have descended on the town of Kragujevac in central Serbia. The protest, in fact, which erupted in the wake of the tragic collapse at a newly renovated railway station on November 1st, is being fueled by widespread anger and frustration over the loss of 15 lives. This outpouring of public dissent marks a turning point in the protests that began 3 months ago. The situation remains volatile, with protesters demanding concrete actions. The demonstrations have grown into the biggest threat yet to President Vucic's decade-long grip on power. In the tense situation, the president of Serbia, Vucic, said the protesters' goal was to bring down Serbia, adding that they were backed by unspecified Western countries.
But the goal of those outside who organized all against Serbia is not to overthrow Vucic and install someone else. The goal is to bring down Serbia. The goal is to bring down Serbia because they don't want Serbia to be economically prosperous. They want Serbia to be weak in the region. They don't want Serbia to be capable and allowed to help Republic of Srpska. They want a Serbia that will kneel and apologize for the crimes committed against its own people.
All updates on Congo crisis now. Chaotic scenes unfolded in the eastern Congo city of Bukavu on Saturday after M23 rebels reached its outskirts. Panic swept through the city as residents and soldiers fled by the thousands, scrambling to escape the looming advance of Rwanda-backed rebels. The morning after M23 fighters entered the outskirts of Bukavu, some streets were flooded by residents attempting to leave and looters filling floor sacks with what they could find. Meanwhile, Congolese Prime Minister Judith Suminwa on Saturday demanded the withdrawal of Rwandan troops from Congolese territory. Talking to Reuters, Suminwa said Congo is an independent country and we must protect the integrity of our territory. The day after a second DR Congo provincial capital was seized by fighters backed by Rwanda, UN Chief Antonio Guterres called that Congo's territorial integrity be respected and a regional war avoided at an African summit in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa. Asking for a dialogue, Guterres stated at the summit that deadlock must end between M23 fighters, Rwandan forces and the DRC.
The fighting that is raging in South Kivu as a result of the continuation of the M23 offensive threatens to push the entire region over the precipice. Regional escalation must be avoided at all costs. There is no military solution. The deadlock must end, the dialogue must begin, and the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the DRC must be respected.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro presented a constitutional reform proposal to National Assembly on Saturday. In a speech in a parliamentary chamber, Maduro said the reform he proposes would focus on 4 major issues, one of the main ones being the inclusion of the so-called communal power in addition to the existing municipal, state and national powers. Maduro, who began a third 6-year term on January 10, further said he seeks to rebuild and expand democracy in the country. The current constitution was approved in 1999, promoted by the late President Hugo Chavez. A massive storm system is pounding the south and eastern parts of the United States with heavy rainfall, flash flooding, severe weather, freezing rain and snow. Severe storms are erupting amid ongoing flash flood emergencies in places like Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky and Virginia, while more than 128 million people are under winter weather alerts. Tornado and flash flood warnings have been issued. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear declared a state of emergency as storms swept the lower Mississippi Valley. At least 48 people were killed in the collapse of an illegally operated gold mine in western Mali on Saturday. Mali is one of Africa's leading gold producers, and mining sites are regularly the scene of deadly landslides and accidents. Authorities have struggled to control unregulated mining of the precious metal in the country, which is among the world's poorest. A local official confirmed the cave-in, while the Kenieba Gold Miners Association also put the death toll at 48. The search for victims was ongoing. In January, a landslide at a gold mine in southern Mali killed at least 10 people and left many others missing, most of them women. Just over a year ago, a tunnel collapsed at a gold mining site in the same region as Saturday's landslide, killing more than 70 people. Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. The city of Malaga in southern Spain has decided to put an end to horse-drawn carriages for tourists due to animal welfare reasons. However, several horse-drawn carriage drivers oppose this measure in the city. Hundreds of Rio de Janeiro residents celebrated the 30th edition of Imprensa que eu Gamo, block party roughly translated to press that I fall in love with in English. Amid the scorching heat, revelers dressed in various colorful costumes celebrated the Carnival Street party. The annual Ukraine Fashion Week Fashion Festival is being held in Kiev. This year's event has garnered global attention as Ukrainian designers and brands have continued to thrive despite the ongoing conflict in the region. Models participating in the event described it as a golden time for the country's fashion industry. Hong Kong's new Panda Cups made their public debut in Ocean Park on Sunday. Ahead of the reveal, Ocean Park staged a greeting ceremony attended by Hong Kong's Chief Executive John Lee. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Mahakumbh 2025 continues to witness an overwhelming turnout in Prayagraj. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to participate in Bharat Tech 2025 on Sunday. India emerged 3-2 winners in a thrilling match against England at FIH Pro League.
Clean energy is the future for sure. We are still not able to produce enough energy through renewable sources yet. But why is it so, and how can we change that?
We introduced solar-powered street lights, cutting consumption by 5%. Then I had the government build green homes fitted with solar panels, making us more energy independent.
The panels contain a lot of rare commodities, and you can save a lot of energy if you use recycled materials.
We run off hydro power or wind power, so the electricity we have is sustainable and renewable. So of course that's the most sustainable we can do.
When it transforms and translates into results that is tangible, they can see the difference that it makes to their environment. It's a huge thing.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. The inaugural show of Change of Guard ceremony in new format was held at the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan. President Draupadi Murmu witnessed the inaugural show of the ceremony, which will take place every Saturday. Change of Guard ceremony will be open to larger number of visitors from February 22nd. People can now witness the impressive ceremony with the backdrop of Rashtrapati Bhavan. Military drills by troops and horses of President's bodyguard and troops of Ceremonial Guard Battalion along with ceremonial military brass band spread over a larger area will be part of the new format. Bookings can be made on official website of Rashtrapati Bhavan. The latest episode of Pariksha Pe Charcha, the artist edition, brought together Indian actors Vikrant Massey and Bhumi Pednekar on Sunday. The actors shared valuable insights on building focus and memory. Both Pednekar and Massey also shared tips on boosting focus, improving memory and staying positive during exams. Vikrant Massey said how knowledge is power and how one should study to gain knowledge primarily. While actress Bhumi Pednekar shared that proper sleep is essential for better focus and also mentions how it helps her concentrate on work.
ऐसी बातें थी नहीं और ख़ास तौर पे जो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी हैं, ये जो इनिशिएटिव उन्होंने शुरू किया है, यू गाइज आर वेरी लकी टू हैव परीक्षा पे चर्चा, क्योंकि हमारे टाइम पे ऐसा कुछ था नहीं। सिर्फ पास होने के लिए नहीं पढ़ना है, ज्ञान प्राप्त करने के लिए पढ़ना है। और जैसे प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी कहते हैं कि नॉलेज इज पावर, उससे बड़ी ताकत कोई चीज़ नहीं है, तो ये सच है।
अपनी किताब एग्जाम वॉरियर्स में कही है कि स्लीप इज अ वेपन, शार्पन इट। जब मैं छोटी थी तब मुझे लगता था नहीं, मुझे लेट तक जागना है, मुझे बस मन ही नहीं करता था सोने का। तो अभी जब मैं शूटिंग करती हूँ, जैसे ही लंच ब्रेक होता है, मैं जल्दी 15 मिनट में अपना खाना खा लेती हूँ और कम से कम आधे घंटे सोती हूँ, क्योंकि वो आधे घंटे की नींद मुझे 8 घंटे का बहुत फोकस्ड काम देगा।
A stampede-like situation broke out at New Delhi railway station late on Saturday, causing multiple deaths and injuries. The incident claimed the lives of at least 18 people, several injured. The incident occurred around 10 p.m. IST as thousands of passengers gathered to board their trains. It is not yet clear what triggered the stampede. A high-level inquiry into the incident has been ordered by the Railway Ministry. President Draupadi Murmu condoled the loss of lives in the incident, expressing grief on X. She wrote, and I quote her, "Deeply anguished to know about the loss of lives in a stampede at New Delhi railway station, I extend my heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families and pray for speedy recovery of those injured," unquote. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the incident. Posting on X, he wrote, and I quote him, "Distressed by the stampede at New Delhi railway station, my thoughts are with all those who have lost their loved ones. I pray that the injured have a speedy recovery. The authorities are assisting all those who have been affected by this stampede," unquote. Minister for Railways Ashwini Vaishnav took cognizance of the incident and sharing the information on X, he wrote, and I quote him, "Deeply saddened by the unfortunate stampede that occurred at New Delhi railway station, my prayers are with all those who have lost their loved ones. The entire team is working to assist all those who have been affected by this tragic incident. High-level inquiry ordered for special trains to evacuate this unprecedented sudden rush at NDLS. The rush has now reduced," unquote. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the incident. Posting on X, he wrote, and I quote him, "Deeply saddened by the unfortunate stampede that occurred at New Delhi railway station, my prayers are with all those who have lost their loved ones. The entire team is working to assist all those who have been affected by this tragic incident. High-level inquiry ordered for special trains to evacuate this unprecedented sudden rush at NDLS. The rush has now reduced," unquote. And now to the latest from the Mahakumbh, the largest gathering of humans anywhere on the planet. The Mahakumbh 2025 in Prayagraj has drawn an overwhelming number of devotees to the sacred Triveni Sangam, the confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and the mystical Saraswati rivers. Displaying unwavering faith and devotion, more than 50 crore pilgrims have already taken the holy dip, seeking spiritual purification and blessings. Even after the completion of the three main Amrit Snans, Makar Sankranti, Mauni Amavasya and Basant Panchami, the enthusiasm of pilgrims remains undiminished. People from across India and the world continue to arrive daily, making Mahakumbh a global spiritual spectacle. The Mahakumbh 2025 is not just a religious gathering, but a reflection of the rich spiritual heritage and enduring faith of millions. As the sacred waters of the Triveni Sangam witness history, the event continues to inspire devotion, unity and cultural pride. Now, India is weaving its way into the future of global textiles with the Bharat Tex 2025, one of the world's largest textile exhibitions taking place in New Delhi. With sustainability at its core, this mega event is bringing together global leaders, innovators and industry giants to shape the future of textiles. DD India's Akshay Dongre reports.
From raw materials to high-end fashion, Bharat Tex 2025 is a grand showcase of India's textile industry. But beyond business, the central focus here is sustainability, reshaping the global textile trade with eco-friendly innovations and responsible sourcing.
We want to demonstrate to the world that India is not just a textile leader, it has the capacity to produce at scale and sustainability, and it's a reliable partner. We have visitors from 120 countries. We have every top country in India exhibiting here. And our theme this year is Innovation Meets Responsibility.
With over 5,000 exhibitors and participation from more than 120 countries, Bharat Tex 2025 is a melting pot of ideas and trade. The event, organized by a consortium of 12 textile export promotion councils and backed by the Ministry of Textiles, spans from fiber production to fashion, home furnishings, and cutting-edge technical textiles.
As a student, I am getting exposure with a lot of Indian brands, getting to know, and as a fashion student, I am getting to know like internships where I have to do, like what type of like people I am getting to interact like with a lot of type people from different backgrounds, and it's really interesting.
We get more exposure here and how we are going to do in industry, and here every brand is different. They are showcasing themselves.
This year's theme, Resilient Global Value Chains and Textile Sustainability, is driving conversations across 70 conference sessions, CEO roundtables and B2B meetings, innovations in eco-friendly dyes, biodegradable fabrics and energy-efficient manufacturing are taking center stage.
Textile industry has a big role to play. The industry in itself harps on future. So whatever we are producing today has to be sustainable for the future. And we are looking for something which is clean, which is fair traded, which is organic. And for this, we are making all the efforts because we have the control from the farm to the customer.
Blending tradition with innovation, Bharat Tex 2025 also highlights India's rich textile heritage. Fashion shows, trend forecasts and product launches showcase the industry's evolution while staying rooted in craftsmanship. As the world moves towards responsible fashion and sustainable textiles, Bharat Tex 2025 is proving that India is not just keeping up but leading the way. Akshay Dongre's report for DD India.
Sports updates now. We'll start with tennis. Amanda Anisimova clinched the first WTA 1000 title of her career with a 6-4, 6-3 victory over Yelena Ostapenko in a rain-interrupted Qatar Open 2025 finals on Saturday. Anisimova is the lowest ranked champion in tournament history and the first American to triumph in Doha since Monica Seles lifted the trophy in 2002. Meanwhile, Ostapenko was coming off a resounding victory over three-time champion Iga Swiatek in the previous round, but Anisimova showcased incredible ball striking and precision to clinch the title this time around. The rain also suspended play for some time. However, once the match resumed, Anisimova broke serve and kept up her all-out attack strategy to wrap up the win after 1 hour and 21 minutes. Hockey now. In a thrilling encounter, the Indian women's hockey team defeated England 3-2 in the opening match of the FIH Women's Pro League in Bhubaneswar on Saturday. Vice-captain Navneet Kaur sealed the victory with a decisive late winner. Vaishnavi Vittal Falke and Deepika Kumari were other scorers. Darcy Bourne and Fiona Crackles scored for England. Two of India's goals came from penalty corners, showcasing an improvement in an area that has often been considered their Achilles heel. And Can Support organized the biggest cancer awareness walkathon in New Delhi on Sunday to sensitize the community about the rising incidences of cancer. People from all walks of life and different age groups walked at the event to show that they care and to also show solidarity with patients and their dedicated caregivers. The event not only is a hallmark at spreading awareness about the early treatment of cancer, but to also remove the stigmas associated with it. Various cancer survivors who have faced the challenging journey of battling cancer and emerged stronger on the other side were also present at the event. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.